Season 2 of 2023 is here for iRacing. We got some new cars, new tracks, a bunch of changes. As you can see right here, season highlights right there. A lot going on, so we're going to jump into it, try to get through this as quickly as we can. There's a lot going on. Starting off with a general, iRacing has had some underlying architecture and components completely swapped out for new modern versions that will ultimately behave and function exactly the same. This architecture change includes a new overall visual aesthetic for iRacing. This is a large background and development change that will make things easier for our software team going forward. License displays in the status bar have been improved. The button to open the settings window has been moved from the top right helmet drop-down menu to the bottom left corner of the main navigation list. The reset button from options and settings now also clears all favorites, shows all confirmations, and auto starts all tours, and fixed an issue where external URLs, such as Twitch links, would not open. For profile, fixed the member club icon showing up twice in the profile modal. Fixed the issue where the member profile window did not open at the correct size if accessed directly from the home dashboard My Career button. When viewing someone else's profile, a note has been added that displays when that user was last online, and removed user-managed personal information fields except nickname and league website, and renamed the personal information section to About. For Go Racing, fix an issue that caused non-repeating events to disappear from the race guide if the selected time was after the events began, and fix an issue where the Go Racing menu was displayed behind the sort tags options. For Series, the Season Results tab on the Series modal window has been renamed Series Results to better reflect the tab's contents. For Results, a new column field size has been added to the Series Results list by day. Season session results have been updated with a mouse over tooltip showing the breakdown of car class entries for the field size value. Resolved an issue on the results and stats page for rookie licenses for displaying iRating in the series stats tab. For AI, a time of day warning about missing stadium lights will now appear when creating AI racing sessions if one's needed. Under Leagues, a new option for League sessions has been added, no drops on or after week X. This allows the user to specify that race weeks cannot be dropped after a given week number. This feature is only enabled if the number of drop weeks is not 0. Sorry, I messed that up. Optimized some search queries for Leagues. Resolved an issue when creating a hosted event and clicking Enable League Racing. The drop-down list of a user's leagues was not populating. Resolved an issue where My Leagues was not properly loading when it was the last viewed page of the interface before it was last closed. And resolved an issue where returning to My Leagues or initially loading the page caused a reference error when favorites were applied as a filter on the page. For Paint Shop, fixed an issue that could cause spacing between letters to be too wide or narrow when painting drivers' names on some cars. Stats and standings. The width of the position column has been increased for the My Relative Standings section. Fix an issue where extra unneeded data requests were being made for the background image for recent series, which could cause the page to error. And for replays, resolved an issue that could occur when deleting multiple replays in a row. And fix an issue with the display mode modal window not closing correctly. For simulation, under connectivity, when reconnecting to a race, a fresh repair is now always sent to the server in case there was a meatball penalty state conflict. For example, someone disconnects right after getting a meatball, but their car state didn't get saved, so when they reconnect, they get a car without meatball damage, but still have the meatball penalty, and now it won't clear. This update on reconnect should make sure the server's meatball is back in sync with the car state. Under race control, the method for detecting jumpstart penalties for the second line leader has been updated to incorporate comparing speed and distance to the leader. Pace speed rules for rolling starts have been updated to allow cars on the outside of a corner to go a little faster than expected, so they may keep up with the inside line, since the outside line is slightly longer. Fix an issue where some pit entry black flags are being cleared if a clean pit exit was driven for road courses. This should only be the case at ovals. And to help drivers realize that issues might be impacting laps they're registering, race control will now inform a driver upon completion of a lap if that lap was flagged as invalid. This is mostly intended to help identify when a driver might be having communication issues, causing an interpolated crossing or a discontinuity. I can say this word. I just woke up. Discontinuity. You know what? You can read it. The notification Discontinuity. Got it. The notification is just like the incident notifications, a text chat message from race control. For active reset, fix an issue where the weight of some removable car parts was not being restored after the car was reset. The detached parts were restored, but their weight was not. The driver could therefore crash and detach those parts again, losing their simulated weight a second time. This process could have been repeated to impactfully reduce vehicle weight over time. That is crazy. Fix an issue with active reset not saving the windshield and visor state, which includes tear-off state. Fix an issue where broken wheels would sometimes not be repaired or be locked for a short duration when active reset was run. For dirt racing, updated the manner in which dirt racing track surfaces update their geometry as dirt levels change, especially near walls, to minimize excessive bumpiness that can occur along trackside retaining walls. This fixes an issue where some calculations for dirt track surface heights were getting their data corrupted by nearby non-racing terrain, such as the grass terrain at different height behind an abutting retaining wall. Our ongoing efforts to improving dirt racing continue, rest assured, blah, blah, blah. Alright, for AI, there's a whole lot going on here. So, including the Mercedes-AMG W13 F1 car, the new cars have AI added, and we will get to those cars as we get to those sections. And drivers are on these following tracks, a whole lot, including a new track that we will cover down below. Yeah, a whole list of tracks here, including the LA Coliseum. Could imagine AI going around there. AI is better on some of these cars. It's so much to read the list. Let's see if there's anything that pops out here. Just more AI training and stuff. I do like the little names they give some of these, the little bullet points. All right, down to soft surface modeling. Gravel properties have been updated to stop vehicles slightly faster. For autofuel, a new refueling option is now available for use. Autofuel. This option provides you with enough fuel to reach the end of the event, or a full tank if needed. The amount is determined by the car, track, your driving behavior throughout the event, and other variables. Autofuel requires some fuel economy data to be generated by you with the current car at the current track before it will work correctly. For example, at the beginning of a practice session, it will inform you it does not have enough fuel, or it does not have enough data yet. After you've completed some laps, it will update to an accurate estimate and work effectively. Additionally, you may select the desired margin of error, or margin for error, using the fuel black box. And auto-fuel calculations do not incorporate caution laps, which could skew data. One additional lap of fuel is automatically integrated into the calculations for timed races to account for events where race time could expire just after a new last lap begins. And new refueling is on a whole bunch of cars. And you know what? That's a pretty nice feature. I definitely don't know if I will trust it. Maybe over time. I'll probably try it out. But it's a nice feature. I'm sure it'll just get better as they work on it. For graphics, a variety of updates have been made to how iRacing handles speed trees and your performance when they are in the world should be improved. The speed trees are now culled on a per portal basis. This should help with performance when multiple mirrors are being rendered. Speed tree's memory usage process has been improved. The speed tree self-shadow option is now disabled by default for all graphics performance classes. Previously, it had been enabled in all graphics performance classes, but it requires 2 extra renders of the trees and may have contributed to stuttering or a general performance hit. Fix an issue where the car shader was being set to the incorrect detail level when the low-quality graphics preset was selected. And fix an issue where the ghost car was occluding objects. It should once again be properly ghostly. For visual effects, the Popcorn Effects particle system has been updated to the latest version. Fix an issue where driver shifting animations were not playing correctly when using the automatic shifting driver aid. And haulers, trailers, and other parked vehicles now have specular maps to showcase shine and reflectivity. A sucker for shiny stuff. Audio, a new audio feature, dynamic brake audio, has been added to several classes of cars, including GT3, GT4, GTE, and touring cars. Dynamic brake audio controls brake squeaks, squeals, and volume using brake temperature and pedal pressure data generated from the car physics. Brake sounds tend to fade at higher temperatures and return when cooler. These noises will react dynamically to brake pedal pressures, becoming louder with more pressure and softer with less. These updated sounds can be very useful audio cues for brake behavior and optimal brake applications. And authentic Australian PA announcements have been added at authentic Australian tracks. None of that knockoff stuff. For spotter, updates have been made to the damage spotter for front, rear, wing, and suspension damage. Messages can trigger multiple times as more damage is taken, and if the part is partially repaired and damaged again, as opposed to only once for initial damage, resetting only if the part is fully repaired. Queued messages can cancel themselves if the part is repaired or if major damage is taken in the meantime. These fixes are intended to fix erroneous damage messages, such as when a team spectator receives an inaccurate damage state from their driver's car that triggers these messages, as well as messages right out of the pits. The Spanish spotter pack from Ares Sejas has been updated, and the Portuguese spotter pack from Guto Colvara, I'm sure I've said both of those wrong, has been updated. Cameras. The cockpit model now correctly casts shadows outside the car for cameras that are inside the cockpit. For replays, with replay spooling enabled, the spool TMP file is now written inside the local app data folder instead of user profile folder. This is an attempt to avoid having Microsoft OneDrive sync the replay system's temporary spooled file to the cloud, thus consuming some of your upload bandwidth. Hey, also a little pro tip, uninstall OneDrive from your system. You can just uninstall it, and it will never bother you again. So there you go. If you have an issue with OneDrive, you can just get rid of it. To restore the old behavior, you can edit your app any file. Fix an issue where water could sometimes appear to show at track edges. Nothing to see here yet. Ooh, rain coming. Fix an issue where some replays could appear to be missing the clouds that were actually present during the event. For voice chat, fix an interface issue that could cause changes to voice chat volume to appear to be changing a different volume input. Controllers. Gamma corrected keyboard backlighting on both Razer and Logitech keyboards so the response is more linear. A small amount of backlighting has also been added to Logitech keyboards when the simulator is booting up, so the keys are still legible. Force feedback. Support has been added for the 360Hz force feedback mode. Provided by some Logitech wheels, it's enabled by default, and it can be turned off right there in your app.ini file. Brake calibration now asks the user if the brake pedal is a load cell pedal, and corrects the brake curve automatically if so. The auto button is now more consistent from run to run, and fix an issue with the new crash suppression logic that lets some of the crash forces bleed through. This should be a lot more quiet when wrecking. Telemetry. A new is garage visible has been added to iRacing telemetry. This variable is true if the garage UI screen is being shown. This is related to the existing variable is in garage that indicates the car is using garage physics. The new variable is useful for a team session. For example, the crew chief may have the garage screen open, but not have the car pulled into the garage yet. This can then indicate to your broadcasting software to blur out the garage values anyway. On to the cars. For GT3, improved ABS system with faster response and better control and performance. Increased suspension droop travel when these cars are driven on the Nordschleife. The engine will no longer be able to be disengaged by the clutch when the car is at racing speeds as a fuel-saving method. Drag effects on the following cars have been reduced. And the dynamic brake audio system has been added to these cars. This is custom brake audio logic uniquely tuned to the temperature and pressure logic of these cars. The squeaks and squeals will fade out at higher temps and return when cooler. These noises are dynamic with brake pressures. And then, of course, as we go, all of these that are listed in individual cars, I will not read again. For GT4, drag effects on the following cars have been reduced. I think that they need to fix that sentence for these. All right, and same with the brake system, same with the brakes on the GTE cars. For the next-gen Cup cars, tire parameters have been updated, drafting parameters updated, engine rev limiters reduced, shift light RPM updated. These cars now report brake pressure bias in the garage, which matches with the DC brake bias value in telemetry. Level of detail camera draw distances for removable parts have been updated to better match the chassis. This prevents vehicle pieces from disappearing at certain distances. For touring cars, reduced the aero drag effect for them and improved the ABS system with faster response and better control. It also has the new brake audio system. For the legacy V8 supercars, the low front roll center option has been removed. For the ARCA cars, fixed an issue with dirt appearing on the windshield pull tabs, adjusted the nose lower grille texture, and fixed an issue with the number block layering on the paint template. For the Audi 90 GTO, maximum brake pedal force has been adjusted. For the Audi R8 LMS GT3, fixed an issue where the pedals are missing from the interface model for the car. For the BMW M4 GT3, dashboard display has been updated to match current driver manual. For the Chevy Corvette C8R, new backfire audio effects, triggering the logic and visual effects have been... triggering logic. Triggering the logic. And visual effects have been added. For Chevy Monte Carlo SS, with this season update, this vehicle is becoming retired content. The late stock model the late model stock is replacing the existing iRacing late model vehicle, the Chevy Camaro, or the Chevy Monte Carlo. This replacement will cause the Monte Carlo to enter a retired state, removing it from use for all events and the iRacing store. So all the records for it are there. All replays will no longer function. I hope I didn't have any. I think I did have some replays for that car. I didn't know this car was just going to go away. Oh, man. Oh, well. All customers who owned the Monte Carlo will be granted ownership of the new late model stock for free. All non-AI hosted sessions scheduled for the future that were to use this car have been updated to instead use the new one. And all AI hosted sessions scheduled for the future that were using it have been rejected, and customers have not been charged. So you got to go make a new one. Dallara IR01, a new combination of aerodynamic model and tire properties have been developed for improved oval racing with this car. Aerodynamics model and tire parameters have been updated. Setup adjustment ranges have been updated. For the Dallara IR18, visor tear-off control binding has been removed for this vehicle. For the Dallara P217, draft parameters updated. The engine will no longer be able to be disengaged by the clutch when the car is at racing speeds as a fuel-saving method, and brake bias adjuster increment has been increased to 0.25. For the Dirt Street stock, the display of some car parts has been adjusted based on camera distances for improved graphics performance. For the Ford Mustang FR500S, fixed a misprint on the tachometer. This car's RPM were not calculated in multiples of 10,000 as advertised. Fixed an issue with fuel and oil pressure conversions on the dashboard and their warning lights. For the Formula Renault 2.0, fixed an issue where the tires were using an incorrect model version for cockpit camera views. Formula Renault 3.5, rear floor durability has been increased. For the Mazda Miata, improved ABS system with faster response and better control and performance. Honda Civic Type R BOP adjustments mass reduced slightly and engine torque reduced slightly. For the Hyundai Elantra, mass increased and engine torque reduced slightly. Same for the Hyundai Veloster. For the Indy Pro 2000, a new damage model tuning pass has been completed, lowered brake limits for side pods and front and rear wings. The Lamborghini Huracan GT3 backfire audio effects have been improved. Alright, late model stock. We have a new car. Used in series like the car's late model stock tour and throughout the Carolinas, the late model stock car is an important step in the career of many stock car racing top stars. The names that have been progressed through the series on the way to national level glory range from current Xfinity Series frontrunners like Josh Berry, Sam Mayer, and Myatt Snyder, to Truck Series drivers like Haley Deegan and Christian Eckes, and even the 2023 Cup Series rookie Ty Gibbs. The late model stock car is powered by a 350 cubic inch engine, both crate and custom engines available, and they produce over 400 HP. That's a lot of hit points. Fiberglass body panels help keep the car on the lighter side, but are still durable enough to take on the full contact nature of short track racing. LMSC Racing puts on some of the best shows in short track racing anywhere it goes, and the car tour takes them to many of iRacing's most popular short tracks, including that whole list of tracks. And we already went over it. It is replacing the Monte Carlo. So there you go. And it has AI, of course. We already went over that. The Legends Ford gets fixed an issue with the right side spun tire texture was reversed. Okay. For the Mercedes AMG GT3, BOP adjustments. Center of gravity has been raised slightly. Rear suspension geometry has been updated. Aerodynamic balance has been shifted forward slightly. And rear tire heat generation rate has been reduced slightly. And for the and fix an issue with opponents' cars' LED roof light strips. For the Mercedes-AMG GT4, again, you can no longer disengage the clutch when the car is at racing speeds to save fuel. Cockpit fuel fill position art has been adjusted slightly. Steering gear has been added to the interface model for this car. And fix an issue where the brake bias knob is missing from the interface model for this car. For the Mercedes W12 F1 car, external RPM lights have been adjusted. For the W13 F1 Mercedes car, of course, iRacing, external RPM lights have been adjusted. Driver paddle shifting animation has been added. Removed the black Monza roll hoop stripe. Side mirror models and textures are updated. For the modifieds, both of them, iRacing's... Oh, they got me. Setup updates. They got me. They always get me with one. All right, for the old NASCAR Buick LeSabre, fixed an issue where the dashboard gauge lenses were opaque when the new damage model was not in use with this car. This was reportedly making it difficult to use the dashboard. For the next-gen Camaro Cup car, fix an issue where the nose of the car could disappear when viewed from certain distances via a mirror. For the Camry, fix an issue with phantom damage appearing at certain camera distances, and texture mapping for the front fenders has been improved. For the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup, new damage model has been enabled. Fix an issue where some mirrors could appear to swap locations at certain camera distances. For the Radical SR10, car physics parameters have been updated slightly. For the new damage model, yield and brake limits for body parts, or body panels, have been reduced. Alright, Ray FF1600, a new open-wheel road car, is now available, and it is free. For more than half a century, the British-based Ray race cars have been building entry-level open-wheel race cars that have launched the careers of countless racing stars. But few cars at that level have approached the place in motorsport culture held by the FF1600 formula, which has been a constant presence since the late 60s after driving schools sought an affordable formula for aspiring Grand Prix drivers to be able to practice with. The most defining characteristic of the FF1600 compared to other junior formulae is its lack of wings. Without that downforce to work with the 1.6-liter engine, these cars require greater care through the corners than their winged counterparts, but also tend to be closely matched on the track with plenty of passing. Combine that with relatively open regulations, aided by a space-frame chassis, the FF1600 formula is popular the world over as an affordable way to go open-wheel racing. Ray Race Cars has won many of these championships around the world, most recently claiming the New Zealand national title in April 2022 with Alex Crosby. So yes, part of the base content, it's free, new damage model, and you have AI racing. And following that up, another one, the Renault Clio RSV new car that is available for purchase. Single make championships by Renault have been some of Europe's most approachable lower level road racing series for nearly 6 decades. Originating in 1966 in France with the Gordini, the first generation Clio debuted in 91. By which point most major European countries had a series of their own. After a brief hiatus, the Clio became the mark of choice. Skip it. Of choice once again in the early 2000s, and has been Renault's car of choice ever since. The 5th gen Renault Clio Cup car debuted in 2020 and has since been adopted by the 5 active Clio Cup series across Europe. Powered by a Renault HR13 engine, the car weighs just 1,030 kilograms with a whole lot of millimeters for wheelbase, 2,579 of them, making it quick and agile and a fun experience for drivers of all skill levels. Past Renault single-make champions have included WRC and Dakar legend Carlos Sainz, Le Mans winner Jan Lammers, touring car icon Jason Plato, and open-wheel champion and X Games gold medalist Kenny Brack. Could the next great racer be running a Clio in the real world as we speak? I don't know. Street stock fixed an issue where side mirrors would disappear completely from all cars except the camera-focused car. For the Ford Mustang GT supercar, fixed an issue where the interface was using the incorrect detailed car model for this car. For the Toyota GR86, the new damage model has been enabled for this car. Improved ABS system with fast response and better control and performance, and some tire artwork has been updated. For the USF 2000, a new damage model tuning pass has been completed. lowered brake limits for side pods, and front and rear wings. Moving on to tracks now. Atlanta Motor Speedway has AI. Brands Hatch patched several tears in the terrain. For Mosport, patched a hole in the pit exit wall. For the Chicago Street Circuit, the track surface bump map has been regenerated and fixed a number of minor wall issues in turns 3, 4, and 6. For Catalunya, they list 4 layouts, which I think is all of them. You can do AI racing there now, and patched several tears in the terrain. Alright, new track. I do not want to pronounce it. I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Jerez, but we were in a big Discord call group yesterday, and I think we settled for Jerez. So we're going to start calling this track Jerez. And it is now on iRacing. Opened in December 1985 and hosting its first Spanish Grand Prix just 4 months later. Circuito de Jerez. I'm sorry. All right, Jerez. I think it's Jerez. Has been one of the premier racing facilities in Spain for nearly 4 decades. It brought the World Drivers' Championship back to the country after a 4-year hiatus, and even after giving up full-time status to Barcelona in '91, returned as host of the European Grand Prix multiple times, most notably at the season finale in '97, when Jacques Villeneuve and Michael Schumacher set up a title-deciding thriller by posting identical qualifying laps and colliding during the race, with Villeneuve surviving the collision and winning the title. Jerez has only seen minor modifications since it was first opened, settling into its current 2.7-mile, 15-turn layout in '94. Many of these are tight, heavy braking corners, such as the Curva Dry Sack, where Villeneuve and Schumacher made contact, or the Curva Lorenzo, that sets drivers up for the final straightaway. The track also features a chicane named for Ayrton Senna, who won the '86 and '89 Spanish Grand Prix. All right, there you go. And of course, there's iRacing available, and you can go buy that now. Zandvoort for they're listing 6, or sorry, cannot count today. 5 layouts, I think is all of them, is AI. So go crazy at Zandvoort with AI. For Spa, for the Grand Prix pits, realigned pit road stalls or pit grid stalls. For Zolder, you have AI now and patched several tears in the terrain. For Crandon, fixed an issue where the pit entry and pit exit cones had swapped jobs. Darlington now has AI. Daytona fixed an issue where some terrain poking through safer barriers, patched a terrain seam in turn 7. Belle Isle has AI now. For Donington Park, patched several tears in the terrain. For Dover, fixed an issue with taking damage when resetting to the qualifying stall. For Not Kill, the national layout fixed an exploit that allows users to use the international final corner to get a better run to the start line on their qualifying lap. And fixed a Z fighting issue? That's supposed to be lighting. I think it's a Z lighting issue. On the first post of some fence models. I don't know what they're doing. Patched several tears in the terrain. For the LA Coliseum, AI Racing is there. For Michigan, the grid stall amount has been increased to 60. That makes me very happy. For Mount Panorama, fixed a wall snag issue on the inside of turn 19 and fixed a wall alignment issue at turn 4. For Mount Washington, the descent version, the reset stall location has been adjusted to sit on a more flat area. For Nashville Superspeedway, you got AI now. For New Hampshire on the road course, some cones have been earthbound. Oxford Plains has AI, so does Pocono. Silverstone patched several tears in the terrain. For Sonoma, fixed an issue with an incorrect surface type on the apron near pit entry and fixed an issue that could cause phantom yellow and spider messages. Both of those for the open wheel 2012 to 2018 layout. Suzuka, you got AI. For Thompson, a variety of holes and seams in the terrain have been patched. For Twin Ring Motegi, for Grand Prix in West, you got AI now. And for East, checkpoints have been added to pit entry to prevent course cutting when entering the pits. Cones have also been added to pit entry to visually help define pit entry path. And for VIR, brake markers have been added. Oh, and edit. We have an edit. A last-minute issue has forced us to remove the new damage model capabilities from the late model stock. All right, so this says they're going to get it working again soon. But we still don't have it on the Gen 6 Cup cars. So I don't know. Cross your fingers. But that's our new update. There's little the Ray race cars. The Ray race cars. Those seem kind of fun. I'm gonna check those out. Anyway, that's it. Everything in this update. I hope this was informative. All right, bye.